Hey everybody, Kellen here from SkilledHub.com. In this video today, we're going to talk about setting a project scope for your renovation. Setting up a project scope is so essential and so important to really kickstart the renovation project, to make sure you have somewhere where you want to go, but also to help you in communicating your idea and your plan to any skilled professional you're looking to hire. So stay tuned for this video. So, you want to start doing a renovation improvement project at your house, business, or property. Where do you start? Well, it all starts with an idea of wanting to do something. That's where to start. But what can sometimes happen is this little idea can balloon into something really big, and possibly changes will occur, and the direction you want to go may change multiple times. Budget can also be something that maybe changes over time, and as you're going through a project or starting a renovation of some sort, it's always so important to have the idea of where you want to go. What is the end goal? And ensuring you can actually communicate that into the full extent, especially if you're looking to hire contractors or involve other people in creating and doing your renovation. So, to start off, project scope. Looking at what you want to do. What is the project that you have in mind? Again, there can be all kinds of things you want to do, especially as a new homeowner or looking to do some renovations around your house. It's always important to set up a plan. What is the focus? What do you want to do? If there's multiple things you want to do, make sure to set up a plan to put different stages in place. So, for instance, I want to redo my backyard. I want to redo my patio. I want to add some new gardens. I maybe want to plant a few trees. Maybe even put in a brand new playground. Those things are great ideas. But now let's put it on paper. And that's where this video is going to come in, is really helping you create and synthesize your project scope. So again, you can have that goal that you want to head to as you're doing your renovation project. It'll help you communicate your renovation project to any contractors or other people you're looking to involve in your project. So, where do we start? Well, with that idea. Why do you want to do a renovation? Why do you want to make a change? And what is it that you want to change? It could be small as just maybe painting a room, or it could be as large as doing a complete renovation of the kitchen. You always have to make sure you come out with a great idea that's very simple. So the idea is, for this video, we're going to have the idea of renovating or upgrading our kitchen. So I want to upgrade my kitchen. There's so many different components of a kitchen that you have to take consideration. Are you just looking to maybe upgrade one component of the kitchen? Like the flooring, like the cabinetry, maybe updating the layout of the kitchen, or are you looking for a complete gut job, brand new, tear it all down and build it all brand new? Very important things to keep in mind. And really important, especially when you're communicating your project. So when developing your project scope, again, you start with your idea and then you go from there. So when you're looking at doing your renovation, you have your idea. Perfect. So that idea, make sure it's as detailed as possible. So in this example for the video, we're going to do a kitchen renovation. And what I mean by that, I'm looking at updating the floors, the cabinetry, and also looking at doing some painting. But I'm not going to change the layout of the kitchen. I'm not going to change other components of it because I'm very happy with those. That's really, really important to keep in mind, especially when designing and communicating to your contractor. Because if I'm not going to redesign the layout, maybe they wouldn't, remove the landing or do other things, because it really helps them to plan, especially if you're looking to go out and get some different quotes and estimates on what the job is going to cost if you're looking to hire a contractor. The other thing to keep in mind is potentially there's more people in your house. Maybe you have a pet or two. Maybe there's some children or family members that you have to take into consideration. It's always important to really get their thoughts as well. Hey, they're living with you. They might as well, if you want to make sure they're happy and really, this renovation goes off without a hitch, it's important to include everybody. And including animals. What I mean by that is, depending on your new layout, design, colors, the flooring, things that maybe having pets should be something to take into consideration, especially when you're planning. So make sure to look at everybody that's going to be using this kitchen, especially if you're going to be doing your renovation project. So things to consider when you're planning out your project scope for your renovation project. The next big thing to think about is budget. Where do I want to go and how far do I want to go in terms of the amount of money I've saved up for this renovation project? Now, that being said, in a couple other videos that we have, we talk about financing renovation projects and how you can go about doing some of them. But in this video, let's say we have $5,000 to do this renovation. Again, a very, very important factor when developing your project scope is your budget. Understanding how much you want to spend, and give or take if there is a exceeding limit, like what is your ceiling limit of what you want to spend, and the minimum you want to spend at least is $5,000 based on everything you want to do. That's how much you have to spend. But is that your maximum? Or are you willing to have a little bit extra? And when designing your project, it's always important to take into consideration some possible over expenditures. That could be from maybe products have gone up in price. Right now, the market for lumber has exceeded all everyone's beliefs and thoughts, so the cost of doing a renovation now may be a little bit more than before. So potentially your products you want to buy, potentially shipping delays, things to make sure you keep in mind so you have that little bit of extra that you can tap into if you need to. It's always important to make sure when you're developing your project scope to have a good idea on your budget, but also what are your upper limits? Do you have a little bit of room? So if you don't, then make sure you're designing a project that fits within that and then having a little bit extra that doesn't go over your budget. Just some things to keep in mind. Because we've heard from homeowners that many projects they've started, potentially budget has gotten a little bit out of control, so they've had to put the brakes on. Now just imagine that. Not having a kitchen right now, for as long, for multiple weeks on end until you have enough money to finish a project, could be a real struggle. So make sure if you're looking to undertake any renovation that you have those contingencies, that little bit of extra, just in case something does happen. The next thing, so now we've gotten our project scope, we've figured out what we want to do, we've detailed exactly what that is. We've started talking with the other people in our household or other people that are going to maybe take advantage and use this area where the renovation is, including our pets. The next thing we've kind of looked at with project scope is coming up with a budget figure and ensuring that we have a little bit extra contingency just in case something happens, so we don't have to stop the renovation and we can actually continue to finish the project. So that's a really big part of project scope. The next couple of things to consider, especially with your project scope, is, like I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, is this going to be done in phases or is this going to be done right now? Potentially, if you're looking to hire a contractor, they may be only able to do certain aspects of the job. So you may have to go out and get quotes for people that want to do the flooring, the people that do cabinetry, and the people that do painting. You might be able to find someone that's more of a handyman of sort that does all of those items, but you may have to get quotes and pricing from multiple people. So again, things to now break it down into the job into even smaller, more detailed bits. So for instance, for the flooring, I want to redo my kitchen floor and put brand new tile in there. The tiling that I want to use has to have a specific type of grain that matches with the new cabinetry, or the color of the tile has to be this way. So again, certain things you want to consider in your project scope, especially if you're looking to get several contractors to bid on your project and provide you with estimates. Now, the nice thing about SkilledHub.com is you can use our task portal and you can contact as many professionals as you want just by ensuring that you have your project scope and your budget and put it on our website, and then contractors will contact you. So something to consider, especially if you're looking to hire contractors, is check out SkilledHub's task portal. So we've got our ideas of what we want to do. We've done the high-level overview of it. We've now looked at who we want to consult as well in this renovation project or think about when we're designing it. We have our budget. Then we've also now taken it a step further, saying, okay, let's break down those smaller pieces, breaking the job down into more manageable pieces, or possibly pieces that may have to be broken down to match the needs of each of the contractors I'm going to hire. So now we've gotten that figured out. The next big piece is timeline and ideas of when you want to start this renovation, especially if it's a kitchen, a bathroom. Imagine doing a bathroom renovation and having only one bathroom in your house. you may have to account for possibly having to rent a possible porta potty or toilet, or figure out some other solutions to make sure that you can cope with this renovation project. So putting a timeline in place is really important. And making sure that you're taking into consideration all of the people that may be using this space. So again, if you have, a large family, maybe, doing a renovation project, maybe on a time that you're looking to take a vacation and hiring people to come in so they won't be using the bathroom or things like that. Things to consider. So timeline is also a very important thing, especially when looking to get quotes from contractors. So again, looking at project scope includes the high-level overview. It also includes feedback from all the different people that may be using the space. You want to make sure that your idea is something that you have buy-in from everybody. Spouses, children, friends, family, and pets, just in case. And from a pet perspective, it's to ensure that if you're buying a specific product, it's pet friendly. Potentially, you don't want to buy necessarily cabinetry or flooring that maybe, if we have an accident from a pet or something like that, it doesn't get soaked up right away and could cause damage. So things to consider, especially when you're doing your project scope. So we have our project scope includes our high-level overview, considering all the people that are going to be using the space and things that may need to be considered in our project scope. We have our budget as well, ensuring we still have a little bit left extra for our contingencies in case anything does happen. And then finally, we have our timeline and setting up when we want to get the project started and when we want the project to finish. And again, it's always important to have a bit of a buffer there just to make sure. Oh, Siri, thanks so much. I'm okay. That's so great. So definitely some things to consider. So that's your project scope. So again, having a project scope is so important for a project. Again, to keep you with that goal in mind of where you want to go, to communicate to professionals, and also to ensure that you can measure your progress as you're going along. And again, when looking at the project scope, it can always be broken down into different manageable phases, or different phases so that you can then hire different contractors throughout the process. You can also bring all the contractors or professionals in all at once, but just ensuring that people know exactly what they're doing at every time, especially if you haven't hired a project coordinator or project manager for that type of project. So, just in summary, again, project scope, so important for when you're trying to undertake renovation projects. It's great to have a big idea, but to take that big idea and actually make it actionable, you gotta have a project scope that includes the high-level overview, taking into all the considerations of everyone that's gonna use this space, and maybe some special things that may involve pets or other things for that space that you should take into consideration when detailing that project out. A budget with contingencies. A more detailed plan, potentially phasing in these renovations, depending on the scope and size of the job. And lastly, timeline. So important to consider. And to make sure that it's something that you can undertake yourself in the allotted time frame you have, or if you're hiring a contractor, it's really good for you to then communicate when you need to have this project done, especially if you have to have it done before a big family function, an event, or something like that. It's always good to make sure you have an idea of where you want to head and when you want it done by. Again, always accounting for maybe a little bit of a buffer in case things do happen. Alrighty, well, good luck with your renovation projects. And again, as I mentioned, if you're looking to hire a contractor, check out SkilledHub.com's task portal today. Submit your project scope, and contractors and professionals will contact you. Have a great one.